Hello YouTube! Welcome to Bambalam! And here's your host, Ian! Well, thank you. That's the Missenden Flyer there, welcoming you to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Now, this is my YouTube channel all about motorcycling. And I was looking on YouTube. This isn't scripted, as you might know, as you might realise. I was looking on YouTube the other day. I was thinking there just aren't enough channels about motorcycling. So why don't you start one? So here I am, starting my own motorcycling YouTube channel. So I hope you enjoy. What's the motorcycling channel all about, Ian? Well, thank you, Missenden Flyer, for asking. My motorcycling channel will be about motorcycling, and me motorcycling, trips I take, that sort of thing, things on the bike, places I go, bit of motorcycle racing, watching, not doing, not for the time being anyway, and that sort of thing. What it won't be, Missenden Flyer, is bike reviews, equipment reviews, endless adverts, talking about motorcycle clothes that I'm wearing in order to sell them, that sort of thing. You know, the sort of thing that some people do on popular motorcycling channels. There also won't be a huge list of affiliate links to all the equipment and gear that I point to, like this mirror. No, there won't be a mirror, an affiliate link to that mirror. So don't worry, Missenden Flyer, I won't be treading on your toes. Now, so the theme, I mean, this is a new year, it's January the something today, 13th I think, and we're here in a lovely back roads of, I think this is Essex, or possibly Hertfordshire. I think we're in Essex at the moment. The theme of the channel this year, or the first half of the year, or 8/12 of the year anyway, is my hopes to travel the Wild Atlantic Way in Ireland this August, and hopefully I'll be mostly wild camping. So most of the content, as people call the stuff you see on YouTube, most of the content between now and August will be about me, or a lot of it, not most, I don't know, I haven't worked out the percentage yet. Oh dear. Okay, so some of the content will be about me moto camping and deciding what gear I should take, keeping as light as possible, but using the gear that I have and not spending loads of money on stuff that I probably don't need. Yeah, so it's about me deciding what kit I'm going to take. So I'll be doing some camp outs. I don't know when they're going to start though. I mean, it's January and it's like 4 degrees Celsius, which is pretty cold, you know, and I'm no spring chicken. Anyway, so but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So it's about that, and riding out, like I said, going to races. I'm a big fan of the old club racing, so I'll probably be visiting Snetterton in, I think, April or May. There's some racing there. It's about an hour and a half from where I live, on the back roads. and I might stay there overnight. I think you probably camp up there and watch 2 days of racing. And the great thing about club racing is that you can hopefully, I know during the COVID you couldn't, hopefully back to where you can, you know, basically you can access everywhere, the pits, everything, apart from the racetrack obviously, unless you're racing. That would be a bad idea, wouldn't it? We can get into the pits. There's no, you know, people are very friendly. It's 30 miles an hour here. I'm doing 35. Oops, you didn't see that. Talking and focusing on the speed are really two very difficult things to do. I mean, some people, like the Missenden Flyer, make it look so easy. Thank you, Ian! It's taken me a long practice to do that! Yes, Missenden Flyer. Well done. I hope I can learn that skill. Yeah, so it's about that for the coming time. Sort of developing my readiness to go camping, preferably wild camping, along the Wild Atlantic Way, visiting places, you know, going to the lovely offshore islands. Most islands are offshore, aren't they? Going to the lovely islands just off the shore of the west coast, Aran Islands and places like that, and you know, just making a lovely time or travelling alone and enjoying the peace and quiet of all the other thousands of people also doing the Wild Atlantic Way in August. Anyway, so that's the aim, and that's what I'll be focusing on in this channel. Okay, that sounds interesting. Now, what have you done? What's your history as a motorcyclist? Well, thank you, Missenden Flyer. Okay, so I've been riding. How long have I been riding? Or rather, how long have I had a license for? Well, getting on for 30 years, I guess. And when I passed my motorcycle test, it was such a long time ago, they didn't have the direct access test. You just pass the test and you can ride pretty much, well, not pretty much, definitely all that you wanted. So I passed my test on an NSR 125, Honda NSR 125, which was like a two-stroke, I don't know, moto replica type thing. Honda kickstart, all the rest, and I passed that test. Did the CBT. They did have CBTs then. I did the CBT one weekend, and then about a week later I did a week-long course, and at the end of that I passed the test, and which allowed me to ride any motorcycle. So no waiting, however long you have to wait now, no separate tests, nothing of that. It was the good old days when I could just ride any motorcycle having passed the test. No theory, nothing like that. Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, you talk to young people today, well, I don't actually, about that, and they look at you as if you're really old. And thinking about it, I probably am. But, oh, this is hot. I hate this junction. Yeah, so that's that. The first motorcycle I bought just after passing that test was, I don't know, wait for it, considering I was in my 20s still, just about, was a GT 550 Kawasaki thing, shaft drive, drum rear brake. I really liked it. It was a really nice brake. I mean, the rear brake was next to useless in the wet, but it just locked the wheel up. It was amazing. But I really liked it. I put in quite a lot of motorcycling. That's when I was really, you know, the post-test. Well, let's go and ride a bike just for the sake of it, which is what I'm doing now, really. So that's my first bike. Now, at the time, you know, about 80% of the courier ride, maybe not 80%, 70%. Okay, 65.7% on the motorcycle courier riders in London rode 500 GTs, 550 GTs. They were, you know, the engines were bulletproof, shaft drive, all that sort of thing. And the only real maintenance was balancing the carbs every 4,000 miles or something. But yeah, they were just like tanks. Not enough of a tank though to survive someone doing a U-turn in front of me one day, and that saw the end of that motorcycle. To me it didn't look that bad, but yeah, it was written off. I guess probably because, I mean, it was a relatively inexpensive motorcycle. It was probably like less than half the price of like a CBR 600 of the time. So yeah, it's relatively expensive. But all the parts, all the major parts, like the exhaust and probably whatever, all the mechanical parts, they were relatively expensive. That's the way of, you know, I'm pretty sure that if you were to buy all the bits that made up a Kawasaki GT550 and try to assemble one, it'd probably cost you like 3 times more than a CBR 600. That's just the way things are, isn't it? Yeah, so that got written off, and eventually got some money for that from the old insurance company. Surprisingly, not what I insured it for, but that's the way of the world. Yeah, and so after that I got something a bit more sporty, which was a Yamaha YZF 600, known as the Thundercat. Now at the time I don't think the R6 was out, so the Thundercat was the sort of Yamaha sporty bike. It was their version of the CBR 600. It was before like really nutty 600s came out, and I really enjoyed that bike. I toured Scotland on it. What else? Quite a lot of other stuff. It was a lovely bike to ride. Oh, flash. Yeah, lovely bike to ride. The only really disappointing thing about it was, well, 2 things. It 8 clutch cables, and the other thing is the plastics. Well, I don't know, but a lot of star cracking from the plastics mountings. So apart from that, I really enjoyed riding it. And one evening it got stolen and presumably got turned into spare parts. So after that got stolen, I probably didn't buy a ride for a year, maybe 2 years. And on a whim I bought a pre-diversion XJ900, that's the Yamaha, on eBay. I probably paid way too much for it. And I did quite a lot on that. I mean, it was a wreck, really. But there we go. I toured northern Spain, 2 up with it, with the other half. Yeah, I did quite a lot. But it was lots of things on it had been bodged by people. The wiring, I don't know what I think they use speaker wire or something for the wiring. The wiring was shocking. In fact, I picked it up from having something done to it. I think a new front mudguard. I needed a new front mudguard because someone had snapped the old one by driving into it. And picked it up and tried to decide where to start, and took the seat off to have a look at if it was the electrics or something, and the ignition wires were just kind of lying next to the battery, sort of semi-adjacent to the terminal. So it was really been bodged. I toured Spain on that for a couple of weeks. Northern Spain, from Bilbao all the way over to Santiago and around. And yeah, it's a nice place. On long tours, you get to find out the real things wrong with the motorcycle. With that one, it was the exhaust headers becoming loose after every day riding, and the petrol leak from the petrol tank, which it developed. And when I got back, I found out that the only reason that it started every day was because the weather was warm, and once I got back to relatively cold England, the battery just wasn't interested in starting it. Anyway, so shortly after I came back from Spain, I took it to be MOT'd, and the guy looked at it and laughed, which I thought was really mean. But there we go. I didn't get it MOT'd. In fact, I scrapped it. Back then, of course, you had to pay to scrap it. I think it cost me about £30 to scrap it. But there we go. So after that, so what was that? We've had the GT, we've had the Thundercat, we've had the XJ. Oh yeah, so a little break after that, and after which I bought a 600 Bandit from my friend. It had been standing on his drive for some time, so I got it for a reasonable price, and then I paid a slightly less reasonable price for a complete new exhaust. But even so, it was, even with the new exhaust, it was relatively inexpensive, and it was in good nick. Well, and that was a nice bike. It was, for some time, it was my only means of personal transport, which generally all my motorcycles have been while I've had them. And then I started, I was working as a teacher at the time, and the bike just became kind of impractical for lugging stuff to and from work. So I bought a car, and the Bandit didn't see much action after that. And it got a journey out every year to be MOT'd, and the third time that happened, it just wouldn't start, whatever I did to it. The carbs were just, well, they were just jelly, I think. So I sold it to someone who came with a trailer. And after that there was a break of probably 4 or 5 years until I got this. So this is my 5th motorcycle, and hopefully it is going to be my last, because I really enjoy riding it. It does everything I want to do. It's got lovely gadgets on it, lovely warm stuff. Heated seats, heated handlebar grips, lovely. You can do lots of things I'm probably never going to want to do. I can pair it up to my GoPro. Not that I want to, because the Bluetooth on my GoPro isn't working, obviously. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, motorcycling. That's my description of what I'm hopefully going to be doing on the channel. So I think I'll stop there and focus on riding a little bit. Okay, so before I do say goodbye, I'd like to thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy this, and maybe come back, maybe subscribe, or at least come back and watch a couple more videos. And of course I'll say goodbye now, and I'd like to thank the Missenden Flyer for introducing and the channel and doing some other things. Thank you, Ian! It's been a real pleasure! Okay, thank you, Missenden Flyer, and goodbye viewers, goodbye Missenden Flyer, have a lovely time, and I'm just going to ride along and film the video. The battery will probably run out at some point, and the video will end. Bye!